Welcome, guys. Happy Friday. Finally got this draft filled. Appreciate you guys joining me on a Friday afternoon. It's about early evening, late afternoon here, anyways, where I am, up in the T dot area, north of the border. Nice sunny day, a little cool, but at least a little sun out there to make us. Let me put some background beats going. Let me know if you're in the chat. Let me know. Let me know how your day's going. If you've done any of these drafts, we're doing and let me know if my volume's okay too. If you guys can hear me good, if the music volume is good in the background, I feel like it makes it a little more fun. Get this thing going, man. It's a nice Friday. I guess it's almost Friday night at this point. 6:30. All right, let's get set up. What's up, Jamie? Appreciate you joining, man. We are drafting. Let me make that a little bigger. We are drafting the drafters early NFL best ball championship. So if you don't know drafters, very similar to the underdog. 3 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 quarterback. They right now have a $10 championship, which is what we're drafting tonight. And that's for $25K to first. And they have a $3, which is a $25,000 total prize. I'll have to go and check I'll check the prize money on that in a second. So we drew the 11 spot, as you guys can see. Can you guys see that on the screen? Why is that not changed? Oh, man. All right. Hold up. Let's make sure. Yeah, for some reason you guys aren't getting my draft board. Let me just switch that. There we go. All right, hopefully you guys can see the draft board now. Yeah, unfortunately, Jamie, I can't do underdog. I'm in Ontario, Canada, so we don't get. I can't get on there. I have to when I go south of the border. I kind of like register for a bunch of drafts, slow drafts, and then try to do them when I'm back home. That's basically the only way. Or I get. Like Dan and I on the GOAT District, we used to do them. He would just go into my account and register for me, or we'd do it through his account. But yeah, I know Underdog's definitely a popular site. Drafters, to be honest, their platform is really good. The site I draft on the most is the FFPC. But this time of year, the smaller draft buy-ins, tournament styles, Drafters has, a couple good options. So we've got 3 RBs off the board, pretty chalk with Chase, and then the 3 running backs, Barkley, Robinson, and Gibbs. Jefferson, Nakua. Nakua is an interesting guy I'd like to discuss a bit, get your thoughts on it. Appreciate the feedback on the volume, Jamie. Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Lamb, Nico Collins, I like a lot. This, for me, this is an easy Amon-Ra for me here. See what the 12 spot does on the turn. So yeah, Nakua is, for me, he hasn't moved, I find, in drafts ADP-wise. But with Adams there now, oh wow, this guy went Genty and Taylor. I'm probably going Bowers here, just if I'm going off of my my ADP. Henry, not a bad option. I'm not a CMC guy. Just wasn't last year. Talked about it last stream. I mean, I got him in one the fantasy. What was it called? what did they call the FFPC, the 350 buy-in for $1 million? Fantasy Pros, I think it was last year. This year it's called the Big Gorilla. I had one team where my co-owner and I took CMC just because we didn't have any shares, and it was a big regret, as you guys know. So I'm going to stick to that this year. Yes, I don't disagree with you, Jamie. Asking about Genty. I look back, like even some of the receivers this year. I've been doing a lot of best ball drafts since January, and I do find that we're a little optimistic. And I think what happens is you keep hearing how good the class is, how great this running back class is, how good the tight end class is. You know, the receivers had such good combines, speed-wise, which is great for football, which is great for our dynasty rookie drafts. But I think we have to readjust when it comes to best ball. And you guys will see, like, I love drafting rookies as much as anyone else, right? We all get rookie fever between the combine and the NFL draft, especially. If you can grab some values, build your teams in a certain way where you can absorb the risk but benefit from the upside, I think there are ways to do that. But I don't disagree with you asking about Gianti. Do I think he's going to be a great running back? I do. But if we go back and look at guys like Robinson, who was else I was looking at? If you look some of these, like, you know, top end, quote unquote, generational guys that we've drafted in best balls early in the past, prior to the drafts, or even after the drafts, once we know their landing spot. I mean, Genty seems like Dallas and the Raiders, probably the two most likely from what I can see so far from all these millions of mock drafts that everyone are doing. So am I going to completely avoid Genty? Having said that, I won't. But that's a guy I'll sprinkle in here and there just to get him in my portfolio. But he's not someone I want a high ownership at this price. You know, if he's falling, like I have him on some rosters where he fell to the mid to back end of the second. I don't mind that as much. And again, it's not like I'm loading up on him there, but I had a feeling he was going to climb into the first. And that's kind of why at that point I was grabbing him at that price. So let me know what your thoughts are. If you're watching this later on after the live stream, let me know in the comments where you're at on Genty. Do you like his price? Let me know about Nakua, what you're doing with Puka. For me, he's too pricey right now, where he's going kind of in that mid. Like, I'm for sure grabbing Lamb over him, even Brian Thomas, Collins, ASB. So he's probably like in the second round for me, around the London range. And I might even grab London in some of those spots. All right, oh man, this is one of those where it's always hard for me to pass on Evans. I like Evans a lot here. Cook isn't bad, but because we already took a tight end, this is a start 3 receiver, even when it's not, even like FFPC where you're drafting 2 receivers and you got your 2 flex. I like being top heavy on receiver. And so options right now are like James Cook, Chase Brown. Love me some Worthy. I love Amari and Hampton as well. I'm either going to go Cook or Worthy here. You know what? Let's mix it up. Yeah, let's mix it up. I'll throw James Cook in here. I think, when you look at the Bills, it's hard to really like their receivers, especially they signed Shakir. But I don't know. I was looking up his last season. Let me just pull him up real quick on the RotoViz NFL Stat Explorer, which is something I like using just to get a quick glimpse of a guy. How often they give you kind of that wide receiver 1, wide receiver We got a dead keyboard here. Of course we do. All right. There we go. Oh, we got a dead everything. The Bluetooth is done. Let me go into the settings here. It's not a live stream without technical difficulties. Let me just get my Bluetooth back. I don't know what's going on here. Here we go. Connect. All right, keyboard is connected, mouse is connected. There we go. So let me go back to RotoViz here. So looking at Shakir, so he gave you 2 wide receiver 1 weeks last year, 19.9 and 21.6 week 8 and week 14. Otherwise, he only gave you 3 wide receiver 2 weeks. So you're looking at 33% of the time he's the top 24. Only 13% is a wide receiver 1, and 67% of the time he's a wide receiver 3 or worse. So that's just how the Bills roll at that position. So for me, the only Bills I'm really looking to draft are Allen and Cook. I mean, you look at Cook last year, guy was a beast. No reason why he can't repeat that. 8 top 12 weeks. 11 top 24. I mean, you're looking at 65% of the time he was an RB2 or better. 47% of the time as an RB1. Jamie says he doesn't like the 12 spot. Let me move this over. Get your whole comment in there. There we go. There we go. Little on-screen production action. I don't like the 12 spot strategy. I got to agree with you. I mean, this is a 1 QB. It's not a super flex. And the fact that he started with 2 running backs, build-wise, in a 3 receiver format, you're probably smashing yellow for 2 to 4 picks there after you start with 2 running backs. But hey, man, the beauty of best ball, everybody's got a chance this time of year. Everyone has their way of building their rosters. I mean, personally, do I start drafts like that? Not even close. I rarely take quarterbacks early. I like to sprinkle them in here and there. Definitely like Bowers. He's going to be a target machine this year again, especially with Geno there now. But yeah, you got to question the 12 spot. But hey, I mean, this is a guy in this league, so I don't mind seeing builds like that. Even the 2 spot, I mean, they're going pretty. Let me see what we got here. So I like Henderson here as an RB2. Metcalf, Juwan Jennings. There's Shakir, speaking of. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Henderson here. So we've got James Cook, Trevion Henderson, ASB, Evans, and Bowers so far. Different ways I can go here. Meyer. I do like Mayers. I think I'm going to lock up Najee here. Again, usually I'm more top heavy at receiver, but I don't mind clumping my running backs and then just kind of reversing it. So I'll be more top heavy with my running backs. I won't draft as many, but I feel like I have 3 guys, at least 2 of these that'll be starting, at the beginning of the season. Again, I always say you're telling a story when you're building a best ball team. So as long as your story makes sense as you build it, each build, each draft is a separate story from the last one that you built. But right now we're saying that James Cook and Najee Harris start off the season strong. Henderson, I mean, we're not necessarily relying on for the first few weeks, but if he gives us something bonus, we really want to smash with him kind of, you know, maybe in the first third of the season and on. Harris, he's one of those guys right now where I was drafting him a lot in, you know, way later in the drafts. Let me look at my, can I pull that here? Actually, here, let me go. Let me see what you're. I'm on the clock with the 8th pick. The top 6 normal guys are gone. St. Brown. I was gonna go Puka, but now you're making me question that. Who would you go with the 8th? Give me the options. Let me know who's there, and let me know. Is this underdog? Let me know what the format is. GSP, yes, guy. GSP's my boy, man. Saint Pierre. I got some Saint Pierre in my family. I went to see him live, man, in Toronto when he fought. That was a sick night. Best $50 I ever spent on a ticket, that's for sure. Forward Fab. Welcome, man. Thanks for joining, brother. All right. Yeah, Pro, let me know, Jamie, what your options are. I'm guessing 8. You mentioned, I think, underdogs, so you're probably looking at what, Brian Thomas, Gianti. Let me know who's left out of that top tier or second tier there. Can help you out. All right, so far we've got James Cook, Trevion Henderson, Najee Harris. At running back, we've got ASB and Evans. Underdog, Nico, Puka, Neighbors, Thomas. So for me, personally, I'm either going Thomas or Nico there. Just as much as I love Neighbors, you know, a lot of question marks at quarterback. Who knows what the Giants do? Do they trade up and take a rookie? Do they, you know, bring in one of these vets? Like, is Russ there? Is you know, once we know, I think that'll settle in. But am I gonna avoid him completely? No. I'm definitely sprinkling these guys in, but he's at the end of the tier for me. Puka for me is even, he's down with the like Drake London, AJ Brown for me. So I really like Nico. I think he's consistent. You know his situation. Even if they bring in, you know, even if they draft a rookie. Let me see if I can move this differently here. You know the offense is going to run through him, right? There we go. Yeah, once I make my picks, I did a bit of a deep dive on Nico the other day. Let me just make my picks here, and I'll throw you some numbers, and you let me know what you think. Ooh, I like that. All right, let me just see. I think I'm gonna go golden here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, so I'm gonna go golden. Get a bit of upside at receiver. I mean, some people are even saying he might be the wide receiver 1 off the board. Who knows, really? I mean, Travis Hunter could be. Josh Downs is sneaky good. I think that's a good, definitely a good pick. All right, I am going to go start the stack here. I'm going to take a little Baker. I don't think I have a lot of Baker. I'll take him to stack with Evans. He crushed last year. Evans was awesome for me. I had him in a lot of redraft tournament builds. All right. Yeah, agreed. I mean, Downs is just good. You know, like no matter who's at quarterback, even with AR, he had some pretty decent production. Obviously, AR is not ideal. I can't believe this guy took another quarterback. I didn't even see that. So the 12 spot started Gianti Taylor, then went Josh Allen's, Jaden Daniels, took 3 receivers, and then took Kyler Murray. Very odd. Very, very odd build. All right, let me pull up Nico Collins for a sec. He's a guy that the more I looked into it, the more he's just kind of a safe first round, end of the first round type of guy. So he finished last year wide receiver 8. The year prior was wide receiver 7. Over 1,000 yards both seasons, about 100 targets both seasons. But when you dive into it, like his yards per route run, 2.92, wide receiver 3. Yards per target, wide receiver 9, 10.2. Dominator rating, 40.3%, wide receiver 3. Contested catch rate, out of 14 targets, 57. So he's a top 10. Like he's just a good all around. Oh, this was the other one. Fantasy points per route run, wide receiver 4 with 0.61. So just like an all around consistent producer. And I don't see that changing in Houston. They brought in Kirk, but he's definitely going to be like a secondary or third option. Mixon's still there. Maybe they draft a tight end. I'm not a big Schultz guy. Oh, that's a good point. Jones targeted Wandell over 10 times per game last year, and Downs is the exact same player but better. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Jamie. That's very valid. Yeah, Wandell's another guy I had, especially dynasty teams, just on the end of your bench, you get to slide in the flex spot, and he was decent last year. All right, so far we've got Baker at quarterback, James Cook, Trevion Henderson, Najee Harris, ASB, Evans, Matthew Golden, and then Brock Bowers. So we're not chasing really any position, just see what falls to us at this point. These are 20 rounds, $10 buy-in, $25K for first. Let me see if I can pull... Oh, man. Hopefully it's not too hard for me to get back to... Yep, I knew that was going to happen. Oh, no way. Don't even tell me this right now. Oh, man. Actually, I'm going to try something else. I had this issue the other day. Okay. There we go. Woo! All right, we're not going to mess around. I was going to go look at the prize breakdown, but this happened to me the other day. I was doing a live draft. Not streaming, but... And it kind of kicked me out. I couldn't get it back in. I couldn't figure out my password, so I'm not going to mess with that right now. So, yeah, we're not chasing much right now. A few quarterbacks are starting to go off the board, usually around this range. 8, 9, 10. You see, like, clumps of them come off. Guys double tapping. I mean, that 12 spot's already got 3 quarterbacks on his team. So anytime I can stack... Actually, I'm going to do this. Let's see here. I'm going to take McMillan. I'm going to take McMillan. Tell you why in a sec. Kind of wish I didn't do that. All right, I'll explain. See who this guy takes. He took Tyler Warren. He's got 3 quarterbacks, 1 tight end, 3 receivers, and then 2. He took Andrews. Okay, that makes it easy. So what I should have probably done there, and that's what you want to do when you draft these, is I'm going to take Goff because anytime I can stack my top 2 receivers, especially when I go early receivers, I'm going to do it. The other option would have been to stack Bowers. Obviously, he's one of our top draft picks, but I went McMillan because I figured the guy in the 12 spot already has 3 quarterbacks. He's most likely not taking Goff, but I totally missed that Andrews was there. I wouldn't have minded. Andrews, I think at this price is actually a good value. But you know what? That's not too bad. We get McMillan, Evans with Mayfield. As much as Godwin signed back, and that does kill a bit of that McMillan value, I think he still has, upside if there's any injury, and I do still think he's a part of that offense. That team's going to be throwing the ball a lot with Mayfield. So I don't hate it. I just, sometimes you think, what could I have done better there? I probably take Andrews first instead of McMillan, and then kind of figure out what I want to do on the way back. Do I take Goff? Or do I take McMillan and then just try to get Geno later to stack with Bowers? Geno, for some reason, I can never kind of time it properly. Let me see where he goes. He's after this Bryce. So he's after Bryce Young. Yeah. So we could have waited. We could have taken Andrews and then McMillan on the way back. Oh, wow. I just saw a huge raccoon walk right by my office on my fence. That thing was huge. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's the first time I see one in the middle of the day. Not in the middle of the day, but with daylight. Those things are usually out at night. But, yeah, that thing was fairly big. All right, so end of the 10th round. Let me know what you guys think so far. Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Cook at running back, Henderson and Harris, ASB, Evans, Golden, McMillan, and Bowers. So again, we're not like in a huge, in a situation where we're necessarily desperate or we're chasing anything at this point. Let's see what falls to us, what goes well with our build. I always say the double digits, you're just trying to kind of build on top of what you've already taken in the first 10 rounds. I don't know if you guys saw, but we got to talk about, I got to be careful not to talk about guys that are still out there. But signing today, that was actually not bad for like the tight end premium world. Conklin with the Chargers. That's an interesting one. I put a tweet out. Make sure you follow me at Draft Room Baller. Follow me on X. Follow me on TikTok. I drop at least a video a day. Best ball related, dynasty, fantasy football. Talk about any, signings, trades that happen in the NFL, how it affects your drafts. Any support is appreciated. Make sure you smash that like button if you're watching. So Tucker Kraft off the board, one of my favorite tight ends to target. But yeah, if the Chargers don't necessarily go, make any more crazy moves at the tight end position or don't draft necessarily high at the position. Even if they do draft high at the position, I think if they do, Conklin probably becomes an even better value in drafts, especially in the tight end premium world. All right, we're coming up here in the 11th round. And the guy I wanted, the guy on my thumbnail, love when that works out, Jordan Mason. I love Jordan Mason to the Vikings. I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. But, before he went to the Vikings, I found like the value on him was really nice. because he was going really, really deep in drafts. But, I mean, now that you know he's with the Vikings, he's got a 30-year-old Aaron Jones ahead of him coming off of like 200-plus. Oh, this guy's just taking my guys. I really like that Likely pick. I was hoping Likely would fall. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, all right. We're going to go Rachaad White. Again, just building on that Tampa stack. He catches a lot of balls. I think that won't change this year as much as I do like wow, totally blanking. Wow. What's his name? Irving. Bucky Irving. Total blank job on the second-year running back in Tampa. Yeah, Rachaad White, just he's a machine in the backfield. I mean, he was good last year. He's a guy that I was buying in Dynasty last year in the offseason. Just people were writing him off, especially when they brought in Bucky. They drafted Bucky. Everybody was all over Bucky, you know, as being one of the best kind of backup running backs. But I think there's room for both of those guys in that offense. They both have their role. Coaching clearly like White. Let's pull up White here last year. Let me know what you guys think about that Jordan Mason to the Vikings. Where are you, buddy? Here we go. So Rachaad White last year gave you 3 RB1 weeks, 8 RB2 or better. You're looking at about 50% of the time you start him, he's at least giving you RB2 or better, which in the 12th round is legit. Again, not super heavy ownership on him, but if I'm building a Tampa stack, he's definitely a guy I like adding. Take a swig. I don't even know if this coffee's still hot. So let me know what you guys think so far the build. Mayfield and Goff at quarterback, James Cook, Trevion Henderson, Najee Harris, Jordan Mason, and Rachaad White. I'm probably done at running back with this build. My receivers are ASB, Evans, Golden, McMillan, and then Bowers at tight end. So 13th round could do the 2 quarterback build. We'll see what ends up coming back or what we can get later on, but I don't mind doing the 2 quarterback builds. We're fine at tight end with Bowers. Obviously, we're going to add either 1 or 2 more, but he's going to be our guy most of the weeks. We're basically looking to fill, the bye week and maybe 1 or 2 weeks where he doesn't necessarily produce that tight end 1 production, but it's going to be hard to find someone that's outscoring him. Yeah, he gave you 11. Wow, that's legit, man. So he was a tight end 1 65% of the time last year for 11 weeks. And he was, tight end 2 is not saying much, but tight end 2 or better for 17 of those weeks. You're looking at 2, 4, 6 weeks where he wasn't a tight end 1. It's pretty legit. All right, so because Geno comes back to us here and the stack with Bowers is just too strong to pass up, I'm going to go Bowers here. Geno for that stack. Hopefully that music's not too loud. If it is, let me know in the chat. Let me know what you think of the build so far, guys. If it's in the chat or in the comments later. Always love getting feedback from you guys. And this week I was MIA, just was having technical issues, dealing with lawyers still for severance packages and all that fun stuff. But we're back, man. We got the technicals back up and running, so I wanted to squeeze this one in. But next week we'll do at least a couple drafts and maybe get some guests on. We'll see what we can brew up. I love me some Tillman. You guys know that. Let me just see what else there is here. I like Pierce, pretty good best ball play, but I do love me some Tillman. Guy looked awesome last year. Again, concussion killed his season, but if they can get a quarterback out in Cleveland, other than Pickett, who looks like he could be the starter this year. Yeah, I mean, he gave you those 3 weeks from week 7 to week 9 where he was a wide receiver 1, and he just looked awesome. Like that was, for me, it looked like we had a breakout season happening. Unfortunately, concussions happened, came back week 11, week 12, and then I think they just took him off. Throw him back on the pine for the rest of the season, just shut it down when, what's the point of kind of putting him in danger if your season doesn't really mean anything at that point. But as my wide receiver 5, I think that's great. Alec Pierce was another one I was looking at there. He's your best ball guy. Like, he's the type of guy you want to grab in best ball. So we'll see what makes it back to us here in round 15. Mayfield, Goff, Geno at quarterback, James Cook, Trevion Henderson, Najee Harris, Jordan Mason, Rashad White at running back, ASB, Evans, Golden, McMillan, Tillman at receiver, and then we've got Bowers in the tight end slot. Not my usual build. Jamie, yeah, welcome back, man. I mean, I like it so far. Again, I was just saying it's not my usual build, just because I'm usually way more wide receiver heavy early. But one thing I try not to do, and I suggest, if you do a lot of best ball, try not to go in with a set, build. I feel like people, they want to kind of label themselves as 0 RB or hero RB or, whatever it is that they want to do, or RB robust, whatever, the latest cool build is. But honestly, I go into every draft. For me, builds are they're like weapons, right? They're like tools. So as long as you know how to build the different builds and balance out your roster, I mean, best ball is an art, right? Building these rosters is an art. So as long as you can flow and let things fall to you in the draft, especially those first 10 rounds, and then build around what you've built in the first 10 rounds on the back end, I think you can make a lot of different builds work. So all that to say, I like my build. I got 3 solid quarterbacks. They're all stacked to my top 3 picks, which I love, because any week these guys will smash. I get to the end of a tournament like this, I've got 3 solid stacks. Yeah, that's actually a good topic of discussion. Let me get to that comment in a second. Jamie, we're just approaching the turn here just because we have 2 in a row. As my wife says, I'm not a good multitasker. Still can't believe that raccoon, man. That thing was huge. Strange is a guy I really like in this range. I mean, he's a guy all off season. As soon as I started drafting in January, even dynasty startups, I was taking him super late, just assuming that he's going to be So there's a couple guys I like here. I don't think I have any Hunter Henry. I'm going to take Hunter Henry. I way rather have him in a Drake May build, but mean, he was getting peppered last year as one of the only options in that offense. You got to think that changes this year, but one thing rookie quarterbacks love is kind of leaning on their tight end. So anytime you can get a tight end, 98 targets he got last year, finishes the the tight end 15, Hunter Henry in New England. I mean, as long as he's back and he continues to build that rapport with May. So there's a couple guys I like here. I really like Iomanor. I really like Higbee. I feel like we need receiver right now. Well, we don't need anything, but what did I do? Nothing like an auto draft live on the air. That's the worst, especially when it's a position you don't. I don't mind Harvey, but I did not want a running back there. That's fine. Again, we adapt, right? We still have 4 more picks, so we can easily. That's fine. We'll do a 6. We can do 6, 8, 3. That's perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. Yeah, I gotta get better at putting highlighting that little star. So let's start with your Chicago question. I think that's very valid. I know people are kind of dodging Swift and Roschon with this idea that whether it's Genty or they're taking someone at the running back position in the rookie draft early, and that's possible. Ben Johnson coming in, new regime, they usually like to kind of stamp the team with their guys. Very possible, but I do like sprinkling those guys in because, like you said, if they don't, right? If they don't draft a running back or they don't draft a running back high enough, and they kind of bring more of a depth piece, then Roschon, especially for me, it's mostly Roschon. Like Swift, he's pretty good, and last year he was a guy that I thought was undervalued. People were kind of just dismissing him, but he was pretty good, man. I picked him up on a couple contenders. Let's see what he did last year. RB21 fantasy points per game. 253 rush attempts. Not the best considering the volume he got. So the efficiency wasn't great. Let me just see how many... And that's why I'm saying, like, for me, I actually prefer Roschon just because, of his price. So, I mean, early in the seasons, from week 4 to week 8, he gave you 4 RB1 weeks. That's Swift. And then, like, from week 9 to week 18, he gave you 5 RB2 weeks. It's not, it's not a 0. It's good. It's decent. It was all right for best ball. Or if you had, like, some kind of rookie, if you had like a Bucky Irving or something that you had him paired with. And again, that comes back to your build, especially in best ball. You want to balance out that build. But this year, I find Swift is a little too pricey. Like, not even that he's too pricey, just there's guys I prefer. But Roschon, for me, has the upside. He's been coming along slowly. There, let me pull him up. We're going to be on the clock soon here. We don't need another auto. We don't need another auto pick, guys. Let's see what guys are here. All right. For sure going Slayton here. He's like one of those best ball guys, Slayton. I'm actually going to take Okonkwo here. I'm not a Schultz guy at all. And I don't mind Sanders. I think he could definitely pop. I just feel like Okonkwo most likely has, we just talked about it, he most likely has a rookie quarterback. I mean, unless Tennessee either trades out of that one spot, he's probably got Ward coming. And we just talked about it with Drake May last year, leaning on Hunter Henry. I think it's going to be the same in Tennessee. If they get Ward or they get a rookie quarterback over there, I think they lean on the tight end. And Okonkwo came along last year. Let's pull this up here. And then I'll get to your Patriots comment. Chig, here we go. So, tight end 28 last year. I wanted to see, where's his game log? There we go. Yeah, like end of the year, week 15 and 16, he finished tight end 6, tight end 2. He gave you a tight end 10 in week 12. So, like, on the back end, but I mean, he had, like, what's his name? Mason Rudolph and Will Levis throwing him the ball. So, I just think that he gets, like I said, Ward or a rookie quarterback in Tennessee. Maybe they trade back. I think they're going to lean on Okonkwo. They've got Ridley there. Maybe they draft another receiver. But there's not much else there. Not a fan of De'Ami Brown, him, and Gabe Davis. Who's him? Douglas? Maybe I missed. Who's the him in that last comment? Yeah, I'm not touching any of those receivers in Jacksonville right now. Whether it's De'Ami, I mean, I almost rather take a flyer with my last pick with Parker. I mean, not anymore now that De'Ami, but I was taking Parker earlier. Oh, De'Ami Brown, yeah. I agree. I mean, these are guys that are barely going to give you wide receiver 3 production. Gabe Davis, never really a fan. Let me go back to your Pop Douglas there. Makes me think they won't. Yeah, I mean, look, Douglas was decent last year. We can look up what he did. Let me just make my last 2 picks here. I'm going to go Juju. They re-signed him. They like him in KC. I mean, again, you're looking for a guy to give you maybe 1 or 2 weeks in this range. You're not looking for an every week guy. And then I'm going to take with my last pick. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we got 3 tight ends there. So I'll take Trey Tucker. We already have Geno just to add to that Vegas stack. So before I get to that last comment, Jamie, just read off the roster. So Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, and Geno Smith, James Cook, Trevion Henderson, Najee Harris, Jordan Mason, Rashad White, R.J. Harvey, a running back, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mike Evans, Matthew Golden, Jalen McMillan, Cedric Tillman, Darius Slayton, Juju, and Trey Tucker. And then my tight ends are Brock Bowers, Hunter Henry, and Chig Okonkwo. So again, build-wise, I like it. This is Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking with Juju, Jamie, is they like him. And if we look at what he did last year, I mean, I was surprised by how much they use him, even in the playoffs, right? Like, I'm a huge Worthy guy. Worthy's my favorite kind of target on that roster. But, okay, he gave you one wide receiver 2 week last year, but he was also injured for like a chunk of that season. From like week 4 to week 10, he only played 1 game, and he gave you 20 points against New Orleans in week 5. So, but then in the playoffs, let me see if I can get the game log here for the playoffs. Maybe on the other one. But yeah, anyways, point is, look, this is, the last 2 picks in these drafts, you're looking literally for 1 or 2 weeks from these guys. So that's pretty much it. Jamie, I appreciate you joining me, man. Appreciate you being active in the chat. Always fun drafting these. Check out Drafters. Again, this is a $10 buy-in for $25K to first. They have a $3 going right now, which is filling quickly. I think it's almost halfway full. But guys, drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, next week we'll be back. At least a couple more of these. We're gonna start bringing in some guests. And yeah, enjoy your weekend. And that's it, man. Happy Friday. Thanks, Jamie. Check you later, buddy.